Hello and welcome to another episode of Curl It with Cathy. Earlier today I had a nice chat with three of my friends who've had books published in the last few weeks during lockdown. I caught up with Rosie Blake, Cressida McLaughlin and Isabelle Broom to find out how they've been getting on and what they're up to at the moment. Hello everyone. Hello. Hi Izzy, hi. Well, it says Ben, but we know it's not Ben. Hi Cesca, aka Rosie, and hi Cressy. Hi.
And hi Ben, if you're there.
Yeah. Hi Ben, wherever you are, hiding with the children. So what I thought would be really nice to do is that you are all my friends and you have had a book out very recently, and I thought it'd be really nice just to have a little chat about it because we're all missing our book launches and just a chance to celebrate with friends. So I just thought we could all get together and have a little chat and tell us about your books and tell us how you're getting on. So why don't we do that?
Oh, that sounds lovely. I'm really gutted about not having a launch because I didn't have one for my last book either. So this is like 2 years running, and yeah I miss it because it's so nice to celebrate a book, and it feels like it's not fair on the books because all the other books had a party. It's like kids. It's like, well, I want a party. I want to go to the whatever it is where they have the ball pits.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just go there and throw some books around.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to get out a bit, don't you, Izzy, I think?
Yeah, maybe. I might be going a little bit mad.
I think you are, yeah. But we love you just as you are, mad and, gorgeous. So your book is, hold it up. Hello again. And this book, when did it come out, Izzy?
It came out on the June the 4th on ebook. So it's out on ebook at the moment. Comes out in audio and paperback on the 9th of July. So not too long to wait. And I can now confirm that it's going to be on sale in Tesco, Sainsbury's and Asda, which is incredible.
Wow.
Brilliant. But of course, urging people to support their indie bookshops if possible. Please do go back to the high street, support those poor folk who have been furloughed and haven't been able to do much.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
bookshops are opening on the 15th or 16th, most of them. So
yes,
you'll be there in time, plenty of time. Jolly
so
good. Rosie Blake, let's hear from Rosie Blake down there.
Hello, so the Dinner Clock Club came out on the 1st of June and it's only an ebook and audiobook at the moment, and the paperback is coming in August on the 20th.
Just push your book up to the camera a bit so we can...
Oh,
yeah, that's it. Perfect.
Although it's old cover because I haven't got the new cover yet, but there you go. Yeah, so no, very exciting. But yeah, like Izzy, I feel sad about... I obviously write books as Cesca Major as well, and I was planning a big 10-book party, and it feels really sad. And I haven't had one because I've had lots of kids. I haven't had one for a while, so yeah, definitely going to organise one at some point.
We should just have one massive party and bring all our books, shouldn't we?
Yeah, and just join book party. Making an item of clothing with the book cover on, as you did before. I think you should.
Yeah.
And Chris, what about you? Tell us about your book.
My book is The Cornish Cream Tea Summer, and it came out on the 14th of May, so it's been out almost a month. And yeah, I had a lovely launch in Gerald, which is one of Norwich's independent bookshop department stores, for the last book. And so it does feel a bit strange. Like, I haven't been going to supermarkets, so I haven't seen it on any bookshelves, apart from photos that readers have taken. And it just feels a bit of a weird time, really. But it's good to know that books are getting out to people, and there's been lots of kind of ebook purchases as well. So it hasn't stopped. It's just very different, isn't it, at the moment?
I've seen your book in Tesco, Cressy. I high-fived it. I haven't been to Asda. I've been to a Sainsbury's, but the Sainsbury's in Sudbury doesn't have a very big book area. So it's all about Tesco, really, in this area.
Yeah, certainly our Tesco's is the best one for books, I think, but we've avoided it since lockdown.
So how are we all coping with writing right now and what we need to do? Have you managed to focus? Well, I know some of us have. But, you know, how have you managed to keep going and carry on with your next projects?
It's been, I mean, it's set aside the domestic stuff that I obviously had during a lot of it, but just I don't know about the others, I'm sure, I've never in my life struggled this much with just focusing on, and everything just feels really frivolous and everything's so grim, and social media sort of draws you back into this sort of pit of despair. Really struggle just to get down to it. But once I'm in, I'm incredibly absorbed and then sort of resent coming back out and having to deal with the real world. But yeah, I've really struggled. It's been like treacle. Yeah.
Yeah, I found exactly the same. I'm at that point where I think if I don't start writing again soon, I might forget completely how I ever did it. But you, Cressy, what are you working on at the moment?
I'm just doing my edits on Cornish Cream Tea Christmas, which is coming out this autumn. So I've kind of had quite a tight deadline, and I'm still working to quite a tight deadline. And when I was doing the first draft, it was just when this whole thing kicked off, and I just found it, usually I can do quite a lot of words in one day, and I just found it so difficult to concentrate. And I'd spend hours on Twitter looking for like one little tweet that would say, oh, it's all going to be okay in 3 minutes or something, and just not finding it and getting more and more miserable. And I really worried when the edits came back that I wouldn't be able to concentrate, because that's when your brain really needs to work hard and you need to be able to pick stuff apart and put it back together. And it's been okay so far the last couple of weeks, but I still find that if I go onto social media, then I'll just lose an hour. So I've been really strict with myself and just get to your desk, open up the document and just stay focused. And like Cesca, I think that Rosie, sorry,
or Ben.
Yeah, or Ben, whichever one of your personalities. When I like get into it, I can lose myself in it, and as long as I don't come out again for a little while, then I can just get some good stuff done. But it's definitely been, I think, the hardest book to write because of what's been happening around us.
How about you, Izzy? Because you're on a first draft of a new book, aren't you?
I am on a first draft, yeah. Do you know what? I was doing okay when I first came back from New Zealand. I was so fired up about the idea I'd had while I was away, and I actually spent the sort of last 5 or 6 days I was in New Zealand in this grotty hostel waiting for a flight to come out, writing longhand, which was, you know, like Jill Mansell. I was like, oh, this is real writing. I'm actually doing it by hand. It's really hard to write to, you know, the pain. But anyway, so I kind of hit the ground running, and I carried on because I was really fired up about the idea, and I sent it to my agent and my editor, both loved the idea and got really excited. So that momentum really kept me going and sort of propelled me through. And then I had a conversation with Lucy Vine, another author, and she was really struggling. She had to do a big redraft edit. And I was like, well, why don't we write together every day between 11 and 12, and you cheer me on, I'll cheer you on. And it just started as the two of us. And then since then, it's grown into this lovely word racing WhatsApp group, which 2 of you are part of, actually. You need to join us, Rosie, Ben. So we try and at least write for an hour a day, sometimes more. And just knowing that everybody's sitting down with you really helps. But because I've been doing publicity stuff for this and trying to get my head around Facebook Live and failing, I've been a bit distracted this week. And also by, obviously, the same, by Twitter, by the news, because this week it's felt like lockdown is now third in the running of awful things that are going on, and it's just we just need some good news, don't we? We need something positive, and the writing is that, and I've lost sight of that somehow this week. So next week I'm determined to get back on it. Probably done because I love the book. I'm excited about it, so it seems cool for me to dip out.
And what you were saying about kind of being inspired while you were away, I was talking to my editor about writing the first draft, and what you need when you're writing is you need to go off and like clear your head and see different sites, or go out and interact with people, or just people watching a coffee shop. And we haven't had any of that. We've just been stuck at home seeing the same views. And I feel like that kind of drains your energy, and you need to go off and have a holiday or go and see your family or whatever to kind of let everything sort itself out in the back of your mind while you're not focusing on it. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that like impacted.
You're right, actually.
Not being able to go out and do something different, and then being inspired by stuff and then coming back. I feel like our imaginations have all been kind of squished a little bit by being stuck at home.
I've had so many people saying to me, "Oh, I bet you're writing loads, aren't you, in lockdown? Because you know you can't go anywhere." And I'm like, "No, I'm not," because you need to be really creative, and that's the whole point. You know, people love our books because we hope that because they are, you know, their escapism, and they can take them away from every day, and you know, and we need to be able to access that part of our brains, don't we? That sort of imagination, and it is hard when the news is full of doom and gloom. So I'm right at the beginning of a new book. I've joined Izzy's word race group at 11, and you know, it's just helpful that is the only hour of the day I'm writing, really, because I don't have a deadline until next year. So I just think, well, I'll just do a little bit and just try and keep it going. And because I'm at the beginning of a book, I don't know the characters, so I'm having to get to know them, and I just feel like I'm in Groundhog Day because I just keep rewriting the same bit every day. At the moment, I haven't got past chapter 2. I'm just rewriting in chapter 1 and 2 all the time. But it'll get there. It'll get there eventually. But yeah, I can't wait to go somewhere. Just get in the car.
Go to a cafe. I miss cafes. I miss, you know, sitting and having a coffee and just fiddling around with a chapter that I'd written the day before. I really miss that. I really, really do. I still go for walks and stuff, but it is the same sort of 4 walks on rotation. It's getting, even the dogs are like,
our dog looks the other way. When it's time for an evening walk, she's like, you're jingling the harness. She's like, what?
I'm desperate to get away, like abroad. But I think we have to be patient on that one.
Well, so I spent the last week psyching up Barnaby for school, and I woke up this morning and I was like, today's the day, and I got a text saying teacher's ill, no more for 14 days. I was like,
no. Oh my god.
You know, yeah, so frustrating. But equally just so sad, just so everything, isn't it? It's just a bit grim. Anyway, let's not be so
no. So you've just held your books up, but let's just talk about the books. I know that you've all been on my Curl Up with Cathy series, so we've all talked about them before, but just tell us a little bit about where you got the idea for your book from. Rosie, you start.
Hi. So yes, I love this book because it was me thinking about how my joyful, gorgeous granddad, who I used to just love growing up, how he would probably deal with giving life advice to a granddaughter. So it's really based on a sort of joyful human that I knew, and it's a load of 80-year-olds who all play golf and they drink gin every Friday. And it's stressed, busy Lottie, who's the granddaughter, who she's worried about her grieving granddad. He's worried that she is not happy and too stressed. And essentially they swap dating methods. So she's persuaded to go to ballroom dancing and to whist drives, and the old guys are all going kind of skating and on Tinder and getting ghosted in Nando's. And it's meant to be this wonderful sort of intergenerational feel-good read, and it's got a little feminist sort of storyline in it as well, of just what can we do for the older generation, what the older generation do for us. That's sort of real, we can really benefit from each other. And actually lockdown has just been perfect for sort of showing that, and just looking at people who have made these funny friendships during lockdown. So we're really friendly now with a couple of people in the village. We make them cakes and we go around there and we check on them. And you just learn loads about their own life. And it's just been really nice opportunity actually to connect with some people in the village that are a bit older. So yeah, so Gin O'Clock Club, there you go. That's
lovely. And is there part of your relationship with your granddad in there? Is there any moments that you were able to put in?
I think I'm not someone who, even though the book is inspired by him, I never really base any characters on real people. I don't really take their traits. So I think the spirit of the book is very much inspired by him and the idea of celebrating that relationship of that close granddad and granddaughter. But he is a lot more awkward. He's actually quite emotionally, he always let his wife, who's just died, sort of take the lead emotionally. So the granddaughter used to talk lots to the grandmother, and some of the book is him trying to now navigate, like, oh, I should probably say something, and being incredibly awkward. And there's one thing where he goes on a fishing trip with her boyfriend, and he doesn't fish, and he's trying to sort of get to the bottom of whether this guy's a bit depressed, and then he catches a fish and he has to kill the fish, and it's just this sort of whole awkward situation. So yeah, I don't actually end up ever, although I steal people's hobbies and I steal people's physical traits, I don't think I've ever really written a book where I've actually stolen someone's personality, or not. No. Certainly not.
I think it's too limiting, because if you're trying to base a character on someone, you're going to always get to a point where you can't go any further, because you can't live inside someone else's head. But with your characters, you can. So anecdotally, I'm with you. I take sort of maybe behavioural traits and things like that, but never the whole person.
Yeah, I'm the same. I will do, like, someone will say something funny and I'll think, yeah, I'm going to put that in a book. But I don't actually take the personality. It's just funny things that have happened, or unusual things, or song lyrics can really inspire me.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah.
This book actually was inspired by something that happened when I was away with my friends. We went on a city break to Athens, and this was not last year, the year before. And one of my friends, Tamsin, who's like me, habitually single, and we were sort of talking about all the things that are wrong with British men, and we're sick of dating British men, they're so useless at getting back to you, etc. And she said she'd had a lovely holiday romance with a German guy when she was in South America, and we were talking about the merits of German men, and she said, I really want a German man. I'm putting it out into the universe. I want a German man. Literally 20 minutes later, we were walking back into town from this bar we were in, and these three men walked past us, and one of them said hello to her, and she said hello back. And they carried on walking, and she was like, oh, really handsome man just said hello to me. I don't know who it was. And then he ran back. Men never run back. This guy ran back, and he was like 6 foot, blonde, gorgeous, German. And he was just like, do you want to come for a drink? And just asked her out in the street. And she was really sort of flustered and was like, oh, no, I'm with my friends. And then eventually took his number, but then refused to contact him, because she was like, oh no, it's just, we're only here for a few days. And so she didn't text him. And then the next evening we were out eating dinner, and we'd spent ages trying to find this one restaurant that she wanted to take us to. We eventually found it late. We were sitting in a table outside talking about the fact that she hadn't messaged him, and I was like, you have to, it's like the beginning of a romantic novel, and the universe literally gave you this German man. And he was like, no, if it's meant to be, I'll see him again. And then he walked around the corner, and he was staying in the hostel above the restaurant.
Oh my word.
So he came and sat with us and had chocolate cake, and then he went off to this rooftop party. And again, she sort of messaged him a bit, and then the next day we were flying back, and he was at the airport at the same time with us, and his plane got delayed because a bird had like flown into the plane or something, so he had to get back off the plane. So it was like the universe was just like throwing this man at her, and then she decided not to go to see him in Stuttgart. He did invite her to go and see him, and she didn't go. And I'm like, that was him. That was the one. Why didn't you go? And I thought, how brilliant this, that she's kind of said this, and then the universe provided. So that was the idea, and that's where Finn, my German sort of love hero, comes from. And they do meet in the same way. The universe is very much like, you must be with this person.
What did she think of that book, now that you've written what should have happened? And
she hasn't read it yet, actually. So she knows that it is based on that. The idea came from that, though. I think she's quite excited to read it. But yeah, I mean, I think they'd be married happily now with lots of blonde, beautiful babies. But she does sometimes go, maybe I should. And I'm like, yes, you should.
Cress, what about you? What about your book? Where did the initial idea for that come from?
Cornish Cream Tea Summer. It's the second one of the Cornish Cream Tea books, and part of the reason I started writing about books set in Cornwall was because of Poldark. And I'd never ever been to Cornwall, and then I watched Poldark and I absolutely loved it. So when it came to writing the second book, I thought, what would be better than like a big lavish costume drama being filmed down on the Cornish coast? And there's already Charlie, who's in the first book, and she's got this bus that's a cafe, and her cousin Delilah turns up in the Cornish village where she's running the bus, and her cousin is just always getting into scrapes, and the reason she's left London is because something horrendous has happened and she's run away from it. She doesn't want to go back, and she manages to get the bus invited to be part of the catering for this TV drama. And so the book is about what happens when the bus goes there, and there's lots of kind of handsome actors and lots of drama, and it's a ghost story, so there's kind of lots of ghostly stuff happening, and that's the basis for it. So it's kind of paying back to Poldark, which is the one who inspired me to write books set there in the first place. And also one of the things about Poldark is that the landscape is as much a character as the characters are, and so I wanted to kind of make the most of that as well, because it's such a beautiful place.
So you've got the Cornish Cream Tea Christmas coming out. Does that feature the bus?
It does feature the bus. Yeah, it's got a new heroine and a new hero, so you can read all the books as standalones. You don't have to have read the first ones in order to enjoy it, but it also does have the bus, and it has the characters who appear in the first two returning. So it's kind of building up the community, and you can dip in and out. But yeah, there is the bus, but there's also new characters and a whole new storyline, and lots of Christmas.
Christmas. I love a Christmas book.
I think you should have a cream tea bus.
Me?
Yeah, why not?
God, I find it really hard driving our little Citroen round. I thought we were going to drive a bus around the place. Can't think of all the disasters that I would cause trying to
have to get a driver.
Around. Maybe I could have it stationary.
A stationary one, yeah. Maybe that would better.
Yeah, that would be better.
Well, listen, we're coming up to the 40th minute, which, as we know with Zoom, is usually when it conks out on us. So shall we all say goodbye? That's really, really lovely to chat, and we must do it again soon.
We must. Should we hold up the books for a little?
Yeah, hold up your books for a nice thumbnail. Hooray, thank you. Bye, ladies. Thank you for joining me. Speak soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.